Hello, welcome to Watching Watches. Today we'll be looking at the state of the watch collection so far, and this was pre-recorded a little while ago when I first launched the channel, but I have not had time to put it together properly since then. I am a new enthusiast to the watch community. I recently got stung by the watch bug, and since then I've spent most of my free times lost in other watches, watching watch videos on YouTube, looking at watches on Instagram, and also visiting watch shops to try on watches and buy any affordable watch within my budget. I have a few watch books so far, like the watch book Rolex, A Man and His Watch, a rare watch book, and so on. Hope you enjoyed this ad hoc sort of freestyle recording that I put together a while back. Thank you.
I wouldn't claim that my knowledge is very vast, but I kind of have an idea of what I like. Anyways, without further ado, let's get started. See, I wouldn't say this is my first watch, but this is my first proper Swiss watch, although not mechanical. Got as a birthday present, and so it's a watch that I kind of cherish. Satisa PRC200. I think it also comes in a manual variant. It's got a very nice blue dial. It's also a chronograph. I don't think I've used a chronograph in a while. I think it still works fine. Yeah. There you go. It's quite a nice watch. Yeah, they do have an automatic variant of this as well. At the time when I got the gift, I did want this watch because I knew of a colleague of mine had a watch then. He might have had the mechanical version of it, but I don't think I was ready for mechanical watches then, so this is what I got. And yeah, it's a lovely watch. It serves me very well. And on any occasion when I need something quickly and I don't need to worry about winding it or setting a time and the date and all of that, I just pick this and I'm ready to go. Okay, put that down. I also have a Casio watch. This is a slightly more recent purchase. It's a classic watch. I was considering going for the silver one, but most of my watches are in stainless steel, so I thought, yeah, why not go for a gold watch? Let's give you options. It's quite a nice cheap watch. I think it might have cost me like £35. You've got the lights function there. You set the date, the time. It does have stopwatch facility as well, and I believe it does have an alarm clock. So it's a very good, fairly durable watch, and for that price point you can't really go wrong. You have easy sets around there, so you can adjust it to your wrist size. This is what it looks like on. You have to bear with me. I have to get used to managing the appearance of these on here. Hopefully it comes out half decent. So that's that. I forgot to try on the Tisot, so you see what that looks like. It's quite a nice watch. Nice chain on it as well. It's had a few scratches, but that just adds to the character of it. Remember the first scratch I had, this was on the way, yeah, I think it was Paris, on the way back at the airport. And I got the scratch and I was so upset then. Yeah, now I can at least remember that trip whenever I look at the watch. Okay, so these are my mechanical watches that I have. By the way, this watch roll is from Mirage, and they do very nice. I'm trying to remember what leather material this is. I don't think it's faux leather, but I know it's not the premium type of leather. It might be a synthetic leather of some sort, but it's pretty nice. It's really good. I had to get it from the US, Amazon US. Should be able to find it on there. Anyways, this is my Seiko watch SKX009. I also wanted the 007, the black bezeled version, but I didn't get it. I actually bought this watch when it was being discontinued. Usually don't whine, you just give them a little spin and then they start moving. It's got a decent sweep on it. Not quite as good as the more premium watches, but for the price point, it's a no-brainer. I try to keep my choices to the classic ones as I get a better understanding of my watch style. I was going to buy a Breitling Navi timer for my first watch, and prior to that I was really intrigued by the tag watches, and this was a lot before I started looking into watches. So at the time I was considering getting one of those. The time and date is not set right, so that's one of the things you have to think about when you put these watches down and then pick them up. Sometimes a no date watch can be much easier, more effective to use. Just grab it quickly, set the time, and you're good to go. But when you have the date and the day, you need to typically, if I wanted to set it to say Saturday the 18th, I'll have to get it up to Friday and then the date for Friday, and then turn the minute hand round till it gets into the next day. Otherwise, because of the 24-hour way of working, it's a classic watch. It's a good beta diver watch. It did come with a different bracelet, which is also the Jubilee bracelet, but it was way too noisy. It's like, so I went for the strap code bracelet. I saw everyone that had this watch on YouTube always went on about how good the strap code bracelets are. I think this might be the Angus Jubilee version that I got and changed it myself. Initially when I got the watch, I was a bit skeptical. I think I might have purchased it from Watch Nation, and I hadn't really heard much about them before, so I wasn't sure if it was real or fake. I actually even opened the watch myself, a case back, to check what was inside, to verify it, and then sealed it back. Well, not sealed, closed it back, so I don't know how sealed it is. Probably ideal to have it properly sealed before taking in the water, although I think I have done that since then. It's a lovely watch. It wears very well. Have to love the blue and red bezel, because that's just that Pepsi look. that you get on a Rolex and a few other watches like that, but to have that here, it's just wonderful. Yeah, it's a lovely watch. It keeps the time well, and once you have it on the strap core bracelet, it's definitely upgrades the look and feel, most of the feel of the watch. And I think from the side view as well, it looks so much nicer. It looks a bit more grander. It's just, yeah, just gives you like a nice body lift, and you just don't have that sound from the normal bracelet. I still have the normal bracelet, but I can't see myself ever wearing it with that again. I expect this would always be in my collection. I paid a little bit more for it, as I mentioned, when I bought it. So I think originally when these watches were really at their peak, they're going for somewhere between 150 to 200 pounds, I think, from the research I did back then. I can't remember now. And when I bought it, again, I can't remember exactly how much I paid, but I might have paid 250 to 300, a bit more for the watch on the bracelet, although I could have got it on the rubber strap for cheaper. But I tend to prefer to get the watches on the bracelet, and then if I need to get any additional straps or something like that, then I'll just get the additional ones. But yeah, when I can, I would get it on the bracelet. So that's that one. So I wanted another watch. I was on the waiting list for the Black Bay 58, but that seemed to be taking too long. And whilst I was traveling to Montego Bay last year, I had the opportunity to buy the normal Black Bay for without having to worry too much about the VAT. So at a discount, 20% I believe it was, and for me it was a no-brainer. Also at the time I was on my way on a holiday for a friend's birthday, and everyone, pretty much everyone on that trip was wearing a Rolex of some sort, and I thought, yeah, let me see if I could get this, which I've always wanted, and it was already in my plan. So when you can get what you want for a good price and it's affordable, then yeah, it's a no-brainer. So this is the Black Bay, it's the 41 compared to the 58, which is 39, I believe. So it's a bit smaller. I think one of the key distinctions is the thickness of the side that you have. So it's a little bit chunkier, this one, compared to the 58. And I mean, in terms of like Rolexes, like this is basically, it takes more of the style of the classic Rolex Submariner, the original versions before you had the additional crown guards. The Rolexes didn't have that, and there was just this. And if you know the history of the Tudor, it's sister company of Rolex, and the founder wanted to have like more affordable watches. He loved everything to do with the British Empire, so he named it Tudor. And the older Tudor watches had the Rolex logo on the crown, and they also had some of them had the Mercedes hands. as opposed to the snowflake hands that we have now. And so the whole shell, everything was basically the same as the Rolex. It just said Tudor on the inside in the dial, and also the movement was ETA, I believe, whilst the Rolex had the Rolex movement. So that was the big distinction, as in the Rolex one was a more advanced. It's better in that regard. So they chose a cheaper, more mass-produced and easy to get and service movement. The original Tudors, when they relaunched the Black Bay, I think it was in 2012 with the burgundy bezel, they came with an ETA movement, but then Tudor now has the in-house movement. So for you to get a watch with Rolex-like heritage and an in-house movement for the price point that this watch goes for, it's just amazing. And then if you can get it at a discount, then yes, why not? For me anyways, it was a no-brainer. So this was my first more expensive watch, should I say, and I've loved it ever since. It's funny now, I've been looking, well, more so when I'm on YouTube, I get adverts for the Tudor Black Bay 58, and they're apparently available on is it NS Young or NS Jones, whichever one that is under the umbrella of the Watches of Switzerland, under the Watches of Switzerland umbrella, and you can get the watches like pretty much now without a waiting list, which is interesting. I'm not sure what's going on. I might have to look into that. It might be a new release coming out, or it's just more availability of the watches. The Tudor that was released this year, which is the chronograph, I don't know what the name, the code for that is, but it comes in the I think it comes in a panda, so the white dial with the black chronograph, and then it has a reverse with the black and white, and that is a very, very handsome watch as well, and that is on my list of watches that I would buy whilst traveling or whilst on holiday if I see it at a good price to add to my collection. So anyways, this is probably my most worn watch. Everything is so nice and smooth. The clasp is just, it just goes in. Let me see, can you see it there? Just goes in. It's neatly flush. Yeah, it's a very well made watch. It feels it. You just feel the difference when you wear a watch like this. For someone that's not into watches, it's like, yeah, it's a watch, get over it. But when you get into this hobby, which is a very dangerous hobby because it's just a slippery slope, rabbit hole, and it doesn't end, then you start to appreciate some of the finer little details. And now we come to my most recent purchase. I've been eyeing up the Omegas, and obviously they had the new release this year. The not so much a facelift, but the upgrade to the Omega movement 1865. Was it? No, 3. I can't remember. Whatever. It went from 1 something something to 3 something something. I'll have to figure out the code later. And this was a new one, so the prices jumped from somewhere around, it was, I think initially when I looked at it about a year ago, it was about 4,000 for the sandwich version, and then it went up to about 4,200, then maybe 4,700. And then and this is also talking about on the metal bracelet. Then they then introduced a new version, and the other version was still at that price, but the new version was about 6,000, almost 6,200 for the watch on the bracelet for the sandwich, which then made it extremely expensive in my opinion for watches that were so much cheaper about a year ago. I know that the movement is new, is better, but that price change is a bit crazy. It seemed a bit much in my opinion. And sometimes the way the prices go up just like from month to month, like, well, it's not from month to month, but in 6 months you go back to check the price and it's more expensive at the retail. So I don't know. Anyways, it was a watch that I had to have in my collection at some point. It's just a matter of when. And I was always thinking I would wait till I'm going on holiday and try and get this duty-free if possible. However, the problem is that they stopped doing duty-free at the airports in the UK, so you couldn't get that anyways. Also, to make matters worse, well, for me anyways, when I was traveling this year, I went through Stansted, and Stansted do not hold Omegas. You have to go to Gatwick or Heathrow for that. So I was like, okay, well, we'll leave it for another time. But then when I got to Santorini, on my last day there, I found out that they had some watch dealers there, and then went to look at the watches, looked at a Rolex. They just two-tone, so the silver and gold. And then I'm 41 as well. That was a bit rich for me. I looked at this, and I looked at Cartier and a couple of Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso, one dual face and one with the metal back. And then I looked at this, a sapphire sandwich, and then they had on a metal bracelet one without the Hesalite version, and I wanted the sapphire sandwich. So I went for this, even though I typically would go for a metal bracelet. But yeah, I have to say, since I got this, I've kind of gained a new appreciation for leather bracelet, because this is actually my first watch on a leather bracelet. So it's not moving at the moment because I need to wind it. Yeah. It looks like I had a chrono going. Look at that. What a beauty. It's going to be my new favorite watch, to be fair. It's like, I always saw in the videos where they said it's what's the word they use? It's just so versatile. You could put it on any bracelet. It's one of those watches that's just so flexible in terms of what you could wear it with. And I do like their metal bracelet though, so I might still have it ordered, because the watch dealer that I got it from in Santorini, they said I should check to see how much the bracelet costs here, and if I still want it, and it's cheaper for them to get it for me there, they will get it and send it to me. So that's an option if I feel the need to still get that, but right now I'm enjoying it on the leather bracelet, and it's such a gorgeous watch. You have the adjustment for the size there. You can move it back and forth to fit your wrist. Still haven't removed the sticker. I would do that at some point soon. That's it. That is my humble collection, and that's it for me.